YouTube. Okay, so I'm gonna do another video. I've been posting like crazy last week because I finally wanted to do some like small clips of the girls and how they've been growing. And unfortunately, like a couple weeks ago, I had actually lost my phone. And whatever videos I recorded on that phone, somehow the videos don't sync somehow with my iCloud account for whatever reason. I don't know how to do it with the syncing with the videos. And so when I lost my phone, I lost everything. The only videos I was able to recover is whatever I had already uploaded to Facebook. So thank God that I had actually posted a lot of videos to Facebook. And most of the videos that I put on Facebook are the videos that I have that I posted on YouTube last week. So I was able to actually put some videos of what they've been doing and growing and everything. So I know everyone's been like dying to see them, so I wanted to at least put some videos, even though I haven't done some of my other pregnancy videos. So this week what I plan on doing and trying to finish getting in is the end of the pregnancy, which is going to be this video. I'm going to talk about like towards the end, last trimester. And then I'm going to do their birth story, and then I'm going to do their nursery. I'm going to end up doing what I took to the hospital. And I think that should pretty much wrap up the pregnancy videos, because I don't know what else really was important to talk about during the pregnancy. So I know everybody loves to do their nursery videos, and we are going to be possibly moving in a couple of months, so I do want to film their nursery and actually talk about everything that I did in their nursery. Oh, I also need to do, of course, the baby shower video. I have tons and tons of pictures from the baby shower. I don't have any video from the baby shower, but I do have pictures. So what I'm going to do is I'll talk about the baby shower, what I did, the decorations, and then of course what pictures I ended up doing. I'll do like a video with some music in it. So I have a lot to do this week, so I'm hoping to get these videos done. So this one is going to be like towards the end of the pregnancy and wrapping up the rest of my ultrasounds and what happened leading up to the birth video. So the end of my pregnancy was interesting and exciting, to say the least. There were, the last video that I did, I was talking about the cardiograms, ultrasounds that we did on both the babies, and then that was like, those finished by like mid-February. And then around let's just say, I think in between those cardiograms I was having other regular ultrasounds, growth and that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden towards, I want to say like around week 26, 28, they started to say that the babies were growing. One really started growing more than the other. One was always growing more than the other, but all of a sudden it seemed like the discordance, the difference between them, was getting up to about 20%. And they normally do not like to let twins get more than 20% difference from each other, considering other factors. But basically they did not want them to be more than 20%, and they were pretty much, they remained at 20% up until the very end, where finally they were around like 22% difference between them. So that was kind of like the trigger for why I ended up having a C-section. So around, I think it was between 26 and 28 weeks, they said, we're going to need to start doing weekly ultrasounds. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Weekly ultrasounds. And it was because they wanted, and what they were doing during those ultrasounds were they were actually doing blood flow of the umbilical cord and blood flow in the brain. So I would have a growth scan every 3 weeks, and then the other weeks were all blood flow. So I couldn't like really ask them, oh, what's their weight this week? It was like they only did that every 3 weeks. So those were the ultrasounds that I liked the best, were when I was able to kind of find out what's their weight, does it look like they're the same weight, Doesn't look like they're growing fine. Their bone lengths and everything. And when they could give me pictures. Luckily, amazingly, I was only able to have one 3D picture of one of the babies. And I had to like beg the lady to do them because she says, you know, we're not really concerned with providing 3D imaging. We're concerned with the health of the baby, so we do ultrasounds more for their overall growth and health and everything. We don't really focus on, you know, if we can't get you pictures, we can't get you pictures. And some weeks they were turned around, some weeks they were you couldn't see their faces. So basically, and actually she said after like in the mid-30s you already can't really get that well ultrasound 3D pictures of them. I guess they start to run out of room and the pictures are never really as clear. Apparently the best timing to do 3D pictures are between 20 and 30 weeks. More towards between 25 and 30 actually. Is what they told me. So if I had wanted to go and do 3D ultrasounds and get really good pictures, I would have had to pay for someone privately and go to a private clinic to get it done. And then I remember also at the 16-week ultrasound that I had at this doctor's office, they also couldn't believe that I had requested to have an extra ultrasound. They said, you know, ultrasounds are not, they're not bad for the babies, but you're going to end up having so many with the twin pregnancy that, you know, you're emitting these sounds and everything into them all the time, and it's not always a good idea to have that many. So I was a little bit taken aback in the beginning because it just seemed like they don't like to overdo ultrasounds at this place, and so whatever, that's their opinion. I don't really know. I think ultrasounds have been going on for so long that it doesn't seem like they're harmful in any way. And I read online that a lot of people don't think they're that harmful, but there is some cases of where, you know, excessive ultrasounds have been done damage to babies or whatever. So I'm not really sure, but regardless, so after like that 26, 28 weeks, it was like weekly ultrasounds. And so, I mean, my job understood, and I always told them it's because they really are concerned and they want to make sure that, you know, they're safe. Because if it did appear that the blood flow in the brain of the second baby, which is the one that they were concerned with because she was the one that wasn't growing as much, if her blood flow looked compromised or if it looked like she wasn't growing, then they would immediately pull them out. And so that's what they were checking the entire time. Now, towards weeks 33, 34, I started to have all these symptoms where I really felt like, oh my God, I feel like they're coming. And I kept having dreams that they were like coming and they were already ready to come out. And I was really, really starting to feel uncomfortable, really feeling uncomfortable. The sleeping was horrible. It was the constant vomiting. It was waking up every hour and a half at night, having to go to the bathroom, tossing and turning. I couldn't sleep well. I mean, it was just, the symptoms were all starting to come together, and a lot more pressure, a lot more everything. Then the worst part was the carpal tunnel. All of a sudden, and the swelling. These were all the symptoms that I had to talk about during the end of the pregnancy that I didn't do in the other video yet. The swelling of water was insane. I have pictures and they're so grossing out. Like on my stomach was just like, you could rub your hand and feel like it was like a pimply texture. Like almost like dimples of water just forming in my stomach and water retention. And then my feet swelled so badly, it was ridiculous. It looked like a freaking elephant foot. It was insane. I mean, my dad was even like astonished at how big like the swelling was in my feet. And I knew that I was going to have a problem with the swelling because as soon as I started noticing it in my stomach, that was the first part that I noticed it, in my lower stomach, then all of a sudden the carpal tunnel hit. Now, and this was a symptom that I wasn't even really aware of, that you could get carpal tunnel during pregnancy. Apparently the swelling of water put pressure on the carpal tunnel nerve, and it started in this hand, and then eventually it moved into this hand, and I was literally all day long, 24 hours, shaking my hands like this. I had no feeling. The last weeks at work were insane. I could barely type. It hurt so much, and I was just constantly shaking my hands like this. Now, to this day, and they are 3 months and 1 week old, I still have a tingling sensation in these two fingers. I still cannot fully type with the index finger. I touch and it still feels like something's pinching me. I don't know if that's going to be something that stays for a couple more months. I did hear that takes months to go away, and that must be because that's exactly like that was the first hand that was affected, and those were the first fingers that were affected. Hold on, sorry, I'm turning. That was the first hand that was affected and the first fingers that were affected in my hand. So I'm wondering if that's going to be what takes the longest to go away, and if I'm ever going to have, I might even be where it might end up never fully recovering, having the same sensation, which is horrendous. I mean, it doesn't bother me so much now. I can finally do buttons on onesies pretty well. I can finally pinch my fingers and it doesn't hurt. It just hurts when I tap for some reason. It's really weird. And then, yeah, so that was the end of the symptoms pretty much. I did have a test where they did try and see if my cervix was opening or dilating early, around like 33 weeks. And I forgot the name of the test, but that was done at around 33 weeks, and it looked like nothing was wrong. So the majority of the pregnancy, I had been speaking with the doctors about what the birth plan was going to be. And I'm going to tell you right now that I had no specific birth plan in mind. The only birth plan that I had, because I already knew that I couldn't have my water birth, was that I wanted to try desperately for a natural birth the entire time. They kept telling me that there was almost going to be no way that I could do that, because that I was gonna have to have some sort of drugs. And the reason they told me that was because essentially, if I didn't get an epidural, you know what, I'm actually gonna cut this video here, and I'm gonna just start my birth video, and I'm gonna start talking about the very last few weeks and include that as part of my birth video. So because that wraps up the end of my pregnancy anyways. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in a couple minutes.